I'll say it to his face. So what? He's saying, so that means he's allowed to gossip. Yeah, akhi, if you'll say it to his face, then why are you saying it behind his back? Go and say it to his face, but don't say it behind his back. If you're so courageous to say it in his face, say it in his face. So, yeah, it's contradictory. I'll say it to his face. I say it to his say it to his face, don't say it to us. Because we're listening, and we've shared that gossip with you. Say it to his face. Another one. Don't worry, he's just my brother, he's just my sister. It's from my mother and father. I'm allowed to gossip about my brother and sister. SubhanAllah. They have a stronger bond than the normal brothers and sisters in Islam. So why should you gossip about your flesh and blood? Ruin their reputation? By ruining yours? As one of my uncle once gave me this example. He said, look, when you gossip about your own family, it's like putting your head up and then spitting. Where does the spit come back? Anyway, it comes back into your face. Some of them, they say, oh, he's just a kid. Where in the Sunnah did I ever allow you to gossip about children? Where in the Sunnah did I ever specify and exempt you from gossiping about Sunnah? When he said gossip, it's about every Muslim, especially the children. Why gossip about the kids? You know, sometimes when you gossip about the kids, the parents take offense and says, if you're talking about the mother or father. Oh, look how dirty his face is. Oh, how cute. It's as if you're saying, oh, how cute, mother. Oh, how cute you make your son dirty. The mother's going to take offense and she's going to hate you. Another excuse they use. Man, I didn't say anything. I was just listening. I've got nothing to do with it. Listening? Listening is part of it. That means you like what you listen. Why don't you do anything about it if you don't like or you're not part of it? Huh? What is our duty therefore in Islam? My brothers and sisters, our duty number one, if we hear a person who is gossiping, is to warn the gossiper of the command of Allah and the punishment of Allah. We must. You're in a group, you have to speak out, ya akhwan. You can't let them go ahead. You say to them, ya akhi, ya ukhti, this is haram. This is haram, and Allah has said this and that. If they ignore you, then you have to defend that victim. You say, no, that victim, I know so many good things about him. And if they still don't listen to you, then you must leave the gathering. Allah says this in the Quran, حَتَّى يَخُوضُ فِي حَدِيثٍ غَيْرٍ. You have to leave the gathering until they go into a different discussion altogether. This is a must. So what do you do if you've gossiped about someone in the past? Number one, you have to try to ask them for forgiveness. Now, if you are unable to ask them for forgiveness, if you think that this is going to escalate things even more, then the scholars said that you must undo the harm which you have done. First of all, undo it. So, for example, go back to that group and say to them, what I said is not right, and you should start to build the reputation of the person whom you victimized. So you will say good things about them, which Insha ALLAH should cover up for what you have done. Brothers, lastly, Insha ALLAH, and I conclude with this, please pay attention before the adhan. What kind of gossip is permitted in Islam? What kind of gossip is permitted in Islam? There are 7, and some scholars put them into 6. Ibn al-Qayyim, rahmatullahi alayhi, put them into 7. And this is what I read from him. Number 1, the first permission where it is allowed for us to gossip about someone, to backbite someone else, not gossip, sorry, backbite, talk about them behind their backs, about something which is true, is when you are seeking a fatwa. And you come to the scholar, and by the way, when you are seeking a fatwa, you are not allowed to ask any person. This is specifically to the scholar, or to the person endued with knowledge. Can't go and tell other people, only the person endued with knowledge. And you ask him, for example, Wallah ya Shaykh, if a person did this to me, what should I do? He'll give you a general answer. You might want to have a specific answer that relates to family. So you say, my father, or my brother, or my son, he did such a thing. Here you are allowed, but you must understand, your intention is for what? Is not to gossip. Your intention is in order to reconcile and to solve a matter Islamically. For example, the other day a brother said to me, brother, look, my father is forcing me to go to the bank to consume riba. What am I to do? So it's in order to get closer to Allah. This is why gossiping with a fatwa is allowed. That's why. Number 2, Identity. Identity. Yani you forget a person's name. And you want to say something good about them. So you come to your friend and you say, brother, subhanAllah, there's this brother, he said something really good. What's his name? What's his name? Subhanallah, I can't remember his name. Brother, you might know him. He's the person that limps a bit. You know, limps, has a bit of a limp. You've gossiped about him. But this type of gossip is allowed in Islam because your intention is to just identify. And you say it loosely. Or the person who has a problem with his eye, brother, you know. Or the brother who's a bit bald. You know, now you use these expressions loosely and carefully, and just so that the person will know who you are talking about, in necessity. You have to be careful there. You're allowed to gossip in marriage purposes. Yani, you want to get married to a certain sister or a certain brother. You want to know some things about them, because obviously you're going to go into a life with them. So, you go to somebody. Now who do you go to? There are specific people. You're only allowed to go with someone who is related to this situation. Someone who is involved, without exaggerating the gossip and without using it as an opportunity for you to get back at someone. So you're allowed to go and ask someone, and then that person can tell you. For example, well, you know, I'm thinking about a certain sister for marriage. Brother, I heard that you, or sister, I heard that you might know some things about her. And she says, or he says, for example, Wallah, you know, look, what I know about them is that, you know, they smoke, or they, you know, they go out to parties, or, you know, they watch certain magazines or something like that, you know, or they lie a lot. You're allowed to say these things, but you're not allowed to exaggerate them. You have to be careful with that. Now, another type of way permissible is when you are talking about an open sinner. And if somebody who does their sin in open and doesn't care, smokes in open, drinks in open, swears in open, a sinner in open. Careful, not a sinner in secret. Ya ikhwan, everybody sins. But an open sinner is the one who has just exposed himself. And I laughed at it. You know, some people, they come and they try to show off in front of their friends. They say, you know what, man, the other day I went out with this girl and we did this and we did that. Oh look, I got her number, and he feels like he's a man now, he's done something courageous or something. But really he's just defamed himself and he's an open sinner. This is especially when you want to warn someone from walking with this particular person. You know such a person goes out to nightclubs. Or you know a person has got a very bad habit, which is, you know, he usually does. So you want to warn that particular person. Ibn al-Qayyim put that as another reason. But I've now included it in this open sinner person. You want to warn Baha from walking with a certain person, with Ali, because Ali will tell Baha, Ya akhi, wallahi, I saw Ali, he likes going out with girls, he likes talking here, he drinks. You know what I mean? So you're allowed to do something like that in open. When you want to warn him, you know something specific about that person. Let's say you know a certain sin which he does as a habit. And probably not people don't know about it, but you have to come up to Baha and warn him. For example, say, Baha, look, I know you're accompanying him, but I fear that you might carry this trait. This person gossips a lot, for example. Don't be careful of it. You want to warn someone from a business partnership. Wallah, brother Khalid over here wants to go into a partnership with a certain person, and I know him. He comes up to me and says, brother, look, I want to go into a partnership with him. What do you think? Is he an honest person? Is he a person who I can deal with? And I am allowed to tell him, look brother, he is a good and honest person, or I'm allowed to say, look brother, he's known to be a dishonest person, so avoid him. And this is allowed over here. And lastly, one who is serving the public, Muslims or whatever, and he betrays or she betrays their duty. For example, you know, you're employed by someone and you serve the public, you have a particular duty, and you are not doing your duty, then you're allowed to gossip about them. But who do you gossip to? Not just any person. You gossip to the authority, the people who have employed him, for example, or to the authority. Or for example, you see your brother or your sister doing something haram or whatever, and you need to tell someone. Tell your father because he's in authority. Tell your mother if she is in authority. So you don't just go and spread it around. You make sure you tell someone who can do something about it. Because your intention is not to ruin his reputation, but your intention is to make them better people, so you do it the right way. I hope that is understood, brothers and sisters. The time for the adhan has now come in. So Insha ALLAH we'll stop here. I don't like opening the floor for questions and answers. You know, I'm not a mufti. And I'd rather leave that for you to ask people with greater knowledge, insha Allah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.